House Republicans hold a news conference. Speaker Mike Johnson and others are going to come out. Ooh, we got some good, looks like we got some Biden impeachment stuff cooking up here. All right. Miss Elise Stefanik, Mike Johnson's coming in the House.
I wanted to begin with a quote from Thomas Jefferson, who said, quote, "The most sacred of the duties of government is to do equal and impartial justice to all its citizens. In pursuit of that sacred duty, House Republicans have worked tirelessly on behalf of the American
Jim Jordan.
people for
No
months
jacket, as
to
per
deliver
usual.
transparency,
Steve Scalise has
following
the mask
money
on
and the
because he's got
facts
cancer.
to uncover what I believe will prove to be one of the largest political corruption scandals of our lifetime and potentially in our nation's history. This impeachment inquiry, led by the chairman here today, Jamie Comer, Jim Jordan, and Jason Smith, continues to provide the American people the answers they both demand and deserve. They have found over $10 million from China, Russia, Ukraine, and Romania funneled through the corrupt influence peddling schemes to line the pockets of the Biden crime family. The DOJ, FBI, and other federal agencies mobilized to play cover-up and attack Biden's leading political opponent, Donald Trump, in a desperate effort to distract from Joe Biden's failings. And Joe Biden has lied continuously to the American people about how he was not only aware of, but was involved with and financially benefited from his family's corrupt influence peddling schemes. Look around this room on these poster boards. The evidence is here, and unlike Joe Biden, the bank records do not lie. The Biden crime family sold out America, and the American people have had enough. And while extreme Democrats pursued a sham impeachment of Donald Trump focused on baseless lies driven by partisan politics, House Republicans have and will continue to follow the facts, uncovering more damning evidence each and every day. This week, the House Republican Conference is unveiling an impeachment inquiry website, providing the public with a one-stop shop for updates from each of our committees and the evidence they are uncovering.
Nice.
It also includes a timeline which lays out exactly what the Biden crime family did to get us to this point. Transparency is the hallmark of America. With each new fact we find, it becomes more clear that Joe Biden is compromised and unfit to lead. I'm honored to pass it over to our chairmen who have worked so hard on their committees on behalf of the American people, and I'm going to start with our Oversight Chairman, Jamie Comer.
Let's go, Comer. On
Thank
the
you,
Biden
Elise.
impeachment inquiry.
Joe Biden has repeatedly lied to the American people about his family's corrupt influence peddling schemes.
That's true.
Our investigation has revealed how Joe Biden knew of, participated in, and benefited from his family cashing in on the Biden name around the world. First, President Biden told the American people he never spoke to his son about his family's business dealings.
Lie.
That was a lie. President Biden spoke by phone, attended dinners, had coffee with his son's foreign business associates. These individuals include Russian and Kazakhstani oligarchs, a Burisma executive, and a Chinese national who funneled millions to his son. President Biden claimed there was an absolute wall between his official government duties as vice president and his family. But there was no such wall. The door was wide open to his family's influence peddling schemes. But Joe Biden allowed his son to catch a ride on Air Force Two at least a dozen times to sell the Biden brand around the world. The National Archives has also identified the office of vice president emailed with the Biden family and their businesses over 29,000 times.
Whoa!
However, the White House is withholding these emails from Congress in addition to the 82,000 pages of pseudonym emails.
Yeah, that's more than Hillary.
82,000 pages.
Multiple
President Biden
pseudonyms.
claimed his family didn't receive money from China, but we all know they did. President Biden's son, brother, sister-in-law, and daughter-in-law collectively received millions from CCP-linked entities. We've also revealed how Joe Biden received $40,000 in laundered China money in the form of a personal check from his sister-in-law. The White House and corporate media continue to move the goalpost as they seek to cover up for President Biden and his family. Make no mistake, financial records, emails, text messages, and witness testimony reveal that the Biden family enterprise is centered on Joe Biden's political career and connections. Joe Biden knew about, participated, and benefited from these schemes. This is a national security threat at the highest level of government, and Americans demand accountability for the Biden corruption. Over the next 2 months, our committees will interview members of the Biden family and their associates about this record of evidence. We expect full compliance with our lawfully issued subpoenas. No one is above the law, even if your last name is Biden.
Yeah.
Our committee
No
will
one's
first
above the
interview and
law.
depose witnesses. We then, of course, would welcome Hunter Biden to
used to hearing
testify
them
at
say
a
that.
public hearing at a future date. Democrats should have no concern with first deposing and interviewing key witnesses. This is how they conducted their impeachment inquiry of former President Trump and the January 6th committee.
Right.
President Biden's pattern of lies, corruption, and obstruction demand action from Congress. We will continue to follow the facts and hold President Biden accountable to the American people. It's now my pleasure to introduce the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan.
What up, Jim?
Thank you, Jamie. This story is as old as time. You have a politician who does certain things. Those actions benefit his family financially, and then there's an effort to sweep it all under the rug. And we know this has happened. The best example is to use the Ukrainian energy company Burisma. 4 key facts. Hunter Biden gets put on the board of Burisma. Fact number 1. Fact number 2, he's not qualified to be on the board. He said so himself in an ABC interview. He said he got the job because of his last name.
He's on
Fact
fire
number
right now.
3, the executives at Burisma asked Hunter Biden specifically, will you weigh in with folks in D.C. to help us deal with the pressure we are under? A few days later, Joe Biden gets on a plane, flies to Kyiv, and announces that you will not get the money that was already approved unless you fire the prosecutor who was applying the pressure. That all happens. That all happens. Those key facts happen, and those facts are confirmed by some of the evidence we've uncovered already. This 1023 form, where the confidential human source told the FBI and it was recorded in this form. Those are the key facts, and now it's important. We got a lot of those key facts when we interviewed one of Hunter Biden's business partners, Mr. Archer. It's important we talk to the others. We need to talk to Eric Schwerin. We need to talk to Rob Walker. We need to talk to Tony Bobulinski, and we're in conversations with their lawyers, and we think those are going to happen. And we need to talk to Jim Biden, who was also in business with Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Those things need to happen, and then, as the chairman just said, as Chairman Comer just said, we will have Hunter Biden in a deposition, and frankly, I think in an open hearing. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen, so the American people get the facts, get the truth,
Yeah, and put
we
two
can make a
fake
decision
Democrats
on how we move forward
on your
as a
committee.
conference. With that, I would
Make a
recognize
fake committee, too.
the chairman from the Ways and Means
Totally
Committee,
fake.
Mr. Smith.
Put 2 fake Republican or 2 fake Democrats on there.
Thank
just
you all
like
for being here today.
Kinzinger and
Thank you,
Cheney.
Chair Stefanik, for having us. Most Americans, they work hard to provide for their families. They follow the law. They pay their taxes. But the Biden family has been playing by different rules. 2 brave whistleblowers came forward to expose the political interference impeding an investigation into the tax crimes of the president's son, Hunter Biden. These are serious, credible IRS investigators who risked their career to come forward. Amidst threats from those representing the president's son that anyone prosecuting the case would be committing career suicide. And as one might expect, they provided substantial evidence backing up their testimony that we have reviewed and released over the course of our work to hold government officials accountable. In the days since their initial testimony, we have learned that President Biden wasn't just aware of his son's business dealings. He wasn't just involved, but he appears to have directly benefited from them. This directly contradicts what President Biden said throughout his presidential campaign and while being president. We have learned about what can be described as the International Bank of Joe Biden, a lending scheme that saw special loans to Biden family members repaid with funds from Chinese executives. We have learned about a Hollywood attorney acting as a special benefactor by paying off at least $2 million of Hunter's tax debts in order to keep it out of the press at the beginning of the 2020 campaign. When confronted with this potential campaign finance violation, an assistant U.S. attorney refused to investigate because, quote, she was not personally interested
No, it's not
in
Trump.
pursuing it.
Yeah, it's not Trump.
We
She's
have
focused on
learned
Trump,
that DOJ
obviously.
officials went out of their way to remove the mention of political figure 1, a.k.a. Joe Biden, from search warrants.
So he wouldn't
As
show
Ways
up.
and Means Chairman, there are 3 major aspects that fall into my committee's jurisdiction. First, we need to get to the bottom of what exactly happened at the Department of Justice and the IRS to impede the Hunter Biden investigation.
Obstruction.
Did Joe Biden use his administration to protect him from the scrutiny?
Yes.
Second, the Biden family appears to have used numerous accounts transactions and loans to mask the flow of money. If these loans were in fact legitimate, there should be interest income reported on tax documents. Was such reported?
No.
Third, how did Hunter and his associates move money through the many shell companies that have been identified? Is there tax information that would help explain the complex web the Bidens created? Over the next week, the Ways and Means Committee will take further action to pursue the truth and follow the facts wherever they lead. We will be holding a hearing with the IRS whistleblowers to discuss the investigation as well as releasing additional material that they have provided.
All right, good.
The American people expect no less. I am pleased to
The
recognize...
slow drip continues, and we'll see if they come up with anything that is good. I'm sure they will. And we're seeing on the opposite side of this, the goalposts change, and it just keeps moving down the line. You know, it went from Joe Biden didn't know anything about Hunter. Okay, well, Joe Biden knew a little bit about Hunter, but didn't talk to him about Hunter. Okay. They did talk, but it wasn't about business. Okay, maybe they did talk about business, but Joe Biden wasn't involved in the business. It was just like showing up at dinners and, you know, glad handing and things like that. And it just keeps moving down the line. Joe Biden didn't get paid from it. Joe Biden didn't get any money from it. He's, well, okay, well, his brother, James Biden, and his sister-in-law, Sarah Biden, wrote him checks, and their money for those checks we can backtrace to Chinese funds. So Joe Biden did get paid from Chinese funds. So he did talk to him, he did get paid for him, and so on and so forth. And now they're moving it to not only did Joe Biden get paid and have some influence and was involved, showing up at these meetings, did have conversations about these things, but now it's not a policy decision, right? Joe Biden didn't change a policy. And you say, that's weird. Does bribery require some sort of official policy change from the president, you know, on like foreign diplomacy or something like that? Or can these be just minor things? Like Menendez, for example. He wasn't changing federal policy vis-a-vis Egypt. He was calling U.S. attorneys and calling prosecutors and saying, can you let up off these charges? Right? There were little changes around the mechanics of the government, but they weren't like Joe Biden said, well, since my son Hunter got paid $83,000 or whatever from China or whatever company, that we're going to suddenly, you know, make a drastic change that everybody can see. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But it's about licensing deals. It's about greasing the skid so that certain things can get done. And there's plenty of evidence of that, including 80,000 emails in pseudonyms and all sorts of other activity that is being kept secret from the investigators and from the American people. So Congress is digging into it. We'll see if they come up with anything useful, and it's going to be a lot of fun to continue to follow.